in the Old Trafford studio to cast his expert eye over proceedings at Selhurst Park, Sammy MciLroy. Sammy, it was a really tough game, wasn't it? How hard did the Reds have to dig to find a result tonight?
Yeah, they had to stay in there. They had to stay in the game. You know, Palace had their moments, like we had our moments, and the important thing was, Sully, was to get the 3 points. You know, the performance, you put it to the side and say, okay, there'll be questions. It wasn't a great performance, but at the end of the day, the business end of the season, 3 points.
Yeah, and the goals were both really, really good goals, and we've got that in our locker at the moment, the ability to score fantastic goals like that.
The front three, well, maybe not the boy Greenwood tonight. I think he's had a couple of little quiet games, you know, but he's been fantastic since he's come on, 16 whatever goals. But the other two, Martial and Rashford, well, they're just a joy to watch. Yeah. The understanding they're sort of getting at the minute is unbelievable. And the highlight of the night to me was the 2 goals. Fantastic.
Yeah. Particularly the second one, Fernandes through the legs of his opponent to Rashford. First time pass, and Martial slots in. Lovely goal. That.
Unbelievable. It just shows you like they're understanding what they're getting, and the goals were a joy to watch, and the finishing was first class. Yeah,
just hopefully the injury to Van Aanholt isn't too serious. Collided with Martial in the Frenchman scoring that goal, so hopefully not too bad an injury. Let's have a look at the table then, just to confirm the standings as they are. Chelsea, who beat Norwich only just though on Tuesday night. Of course, that also gives them an extra 48 hours rest ahead of the FA Cup semi-final, which is unfair scheduling. But Leicester, who were just about good enough to beat Sheffield United, who weren't really at their best at the Foxes today. So Leicester win by 2-0, and then we follow that with a 2-0 win. So the goal difference remains the same, just 3 better for Leicester, and the points equal. So Sammy, with just a couple of games left now, you know, it's in our own hands, and that's all we can ask for.
Well, as we said at the beginning of the show, so we win our games. Let the rest take care of itself, you know. It's important that we beat West Ham here at Old Trafford, because Leicester have got to go to Spurs, which is a tough game. But I'm sure Rodgers will be saying the same to his players. Forget about Manchester United, just win our games. Yeah. You know, so every game now is critical right to the end.
Yeah, Spurs though, you know, they want to play in Europe next season, so they will need to beat Leicester at home. So maybe Jose can do us a favour. Okay, we're going to get more reaction from Selhurst Park as soon as it comes into you. For now, though, let's head over to the Warwick with Peen Mullenstein and Joe Thompson.
Thanks, Mark. Yes, well, Joe, good earned 3 points. Obviously, he's pushing us back into those chances of going into the Champions League spots as well. What did you make of that game then?
In the end, a real professional performance, you know, 2 unbelievable finishes, clinical finishes from 2 outstanding young players at this moment in time, and the relationship that they've built over the last 6 months in particular is really exciting and encouraging for any Man United fan.
Yeah, and obviously cherry on the cake as well for Rashford, isn't it? Obviously getting the honorary doctorate at Manchester University, and now obviously scoring as well. Do you think it was in his blood to score tonight?
An unbelievable week, like you say, for him and his family. You know, I'm sure they're ever so proud. I think it's really, really inspiring to see such a young man using his platform to help others, but he's still doing it on the pitch, you know, and that's a real important factor at this moment in time.
Yeah, and we've obviously carried on our long unbeaten run. We're still going with that run. What does that say about this team?
You know, Ollie spoke about it before, about the reaction, and he'll be delighted with that reaction, because it did feel like a loss against Southampton with that late equaliser. But, you know, it was a terrific performance. Nervy at times, but, you know, with Palace and particularly Wilfried Zaha, they can always pose a threat on the break, but they rode the storm well.
Yeah, and Sammy alluded to it before when he was speaking to Sully as well. It was difficult to break them down, wasn't it? And there were chances, but thankfully David saved those, didn't he? And had a great performance himself. But how difficult just was it to really get past that Crystal Palace back line?
Yeah, it was going to take a special moment in a way, a moment of magic, and both the goals were unbelievable, well-worked goals, you know, with Bruno in particular with the nice little megs through Milivojic's legs, and then the touch from Marcus, particularly for Martial's finish, it looks simple, it looks easy, but to do it in the moment is a different kettle of fish. And you know, it was on a plate for Martial to tuck it away.
Yeah, and let's touch upon Mason Greenwood as well. Obviously, he got subbed off in the second half, but the players were on him, weren't they? Because I think everyone has sort of started to realise how big of a threat he really is. Is that something he needs to work on now, knowing that he's going to have all those players surrounding him and trying to stop him being so, you know, pivotal in that box?
Yeah, it's often the case, you know, when you make your way in the game and you come onto the scene how he has done. It's been electric at times, but you know, if you give him half a yard in and around that 18-yard box, there's usually only one outcome. So it was no surprise that, you know, Crystal Palace often doubled up, and you could tell and see that injury that he did sustain, you know, a few days ago was still playing on the back of his mind.
Yeah, OK, well, we'll hear more from Joe a little bit later, but let's head back to the studio now where Sammy MciLroy is with Sully.
Yeah, thanks, Peen. One moment we've not talked about yet is the disallowed Palace goal, Sammy. Ruled out by the length of a toenail, I think.
It was the length of a toenail.
It was so close, wasn't it?
Unbelievable.
I mean, it was the right call, but the margins were so fine.
It's unbelievable, Sol. I mean, it's, as you say, it's a toenail. And, you know, that, believe it or not, could change a game.
Yeah.
But unlucky.
That would have made it 1-1, of course.
That would have made it 1-1. Exactly. And, you know, you never know what happens there. But we rode our luck a little bit with that decision tonight, even though overall we were, I think, the better side and convincingly won the game. But at the end of the day, that decision just was on our side.
Yeah, I mean, VAR has been controversial at times. Some claim it hasn't worked at times, but by the letter of the law, I was just offside tonight, so it has proven to be correct.
Well, this is the way it is, and this is what you say. The law is, if you're off, you're off, and the margin is so small, but you're still offside, and VAR got it right. Yeah, without VAR, it would be 1-1, and then it's a different game, like you say. Do you think we still would have gone on 1, or is it such a different game, just can't? Well, you can't sort of say that, but I think with our front people, the way they were sort of, as the game grew all into the game, we were sort of making chances. Martial and Rashford were giving them all sorts of problems. I still think we would have done and won the game. Yeah, I think you're right. We're still getting some reaction from Selhurst Park, Stuart Gardner, working hard to bring you some of that. For now, let's head over to Statman Dave, see what he made of the game.
Cheers, Sully. I think it was a very workmanlike performance from Manchester United. Patient in possession, but also good in certain areas. The key thing that we mentioned pre-game, not only was Bruno Fernandes getting involved and starting Manchester United, roaming around the pitch like he did, but it was the relationship between Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial, something that's really blossomed this season, that lopsided strike force. In terms of goals, both are on 17 in the Premier League. The first time since Zlatan Ibrahimovic and before him, Wayne Rooney. No player post Sir Alex Ferguson has scored more goals than both Rashford and Martial in the Premier League this season. But what's more interesting statistically is who they're playing their passes to. Anthony Martial played most of his passes to Marcus Rashford, and Marcus Rashford vice versa to Anthony Martial. In fact, in the Premier League this season, Marcus Rashford has assisted Anthony Martial 5 times. There's only 2 combinations of players that have done that more. So it's a big combination. I love the interplay between them for that Anthony Martial goal. The way that Marcus Rashford picked up that little bit of pocket of space in number 10, threaded the through ball for Martial to finish off the move. But I think as well we've got to talk about Bruno Fernandes. I think he really kick-started United's game today. I think for the first goal we mentioned before, the pass that went through the lines from Scott McTominay, really incisive to Bruno Fernandes' feet. He turned and then played it to Rashford, who, lovely little jink, and finished it off. But I thought that he had a good game in terms of always playing forward, something that he's always spoke about since joining Manchester United. I want to play forward, want to link with the attackers, and I thought he did that really well today. And also, I just want to touch on Harry Maguire. I thought, again, he had a good game. I thought he covered really well. There was a big tackle in the first half, or in the second half, I think it might have been, where Crystal Palace were breaking. Another leadership from the back, and we saw United control the game with Nemanja Matic coming on. It was simple stuff from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's men, but it was all about their front 2, and I expect them to, unleash them together against Chelsea once again. But they're my thoughts on the game, Sully. Back to you.
Yeah, nice one, Dave. Thank you for that. So that combination does continue to grow from strength to strength. I want to ask you about a man who came in from the cold today and performed pretty well. Tim Fosu-Mensah, after a bit of a shaky start, there was a couple of moments when I knew he was caught, but how do you think he did?
You expect that, Sully. You expect that little bit of a shaky start till the game get going, and you can't fault him. You know, I thought he was solid, and he had threats against him. I thought he was solid all night, and just shows you, like, you know, what a great young prospect there is there for Ollie to have later on in his career, hopefully at Manchester United. I didn't think he did anything wrong in a position really where he's not used to, at left back. I thought he did fine, really well.
Yeah, he's just 22 as well. You
22 years of age.
He's still got loads of growth.
Exactly, and he hasn't played for what, 2 years?
For United since 2017.
2017, and to come in
on loan at Palace and Fulham in the meantime.
Well, he's been out on loan and did well at each club he's been at, but for here tonight, against two players who could really give him a hard time, I thought the kid did excellent. Yeah,
and Scott came in today as well and gave a good account of himself.
Steady. You know, he's a great